Hey, good morning, all. Yes, if you're new to the blog, welcome to the more summer version of the blog as we flip into hopefully a pattern change into the days and weeks ahead. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the blog here. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. As everyone's kind of rolling in, YouTubers always first, guys. Hello to Blue and Carrie, ZK. Nikki is here as well. Hello to Albert. And I already said Blue, right? Yeah, I think I did. Amy is here. Hi, Amy. And Karen on Facebook. All right, good morning, guys. I hope you guys had a good Derby weekend. I know the weather wasn't, obviously it wasn't the best, but hey, we made the best of it. And active weather, that's usually what you got to do, right? But hey, we know around here that's the way it seems to go with Derby weekend. That one will be one for the books for sure. It'll be one that we talk about like 2018 was for the area. So, yeah. We're getting to be professionals at that. If we get a shockingly beautiful Derby set up next year for Oaks and Derby, I think we'll be literally in shock. We won't know how to handle ourselves, but we're due for one. So I got a feeling next year, I think will be it. All right. Write it down. I got a feeling it'll be next year. All right. So a lot to cover today because we have been in this upper low nightmare for a while. The jet stream has already left us. Thank you, Jetstream. So because it has left us, we haven't been talking a ton about severe weather the past few days, at least in our area. It's mainly just low clouds and drizzle and light showers, right? Well, we're going to we're getting away from one upper low, the same one that was here for Derby weekend. We're getting away from that currently. However, there is another one that has been out west for several days, giving areas of Texas a lot of problems for several days. It's heading our way as we into later this week. We'll cover that. And there's another one that will come back into play for next week. The jet stream just really is not in our neighborhood for at least a couple more weeks before we get it back into a more active setup. And then we'll see whether or not that gets into a stormy one or not. One thing I will say, and I know, I don't think I've seen Adam's comment yet in here yet. I'm sure he'll be here shortly. But looking ahead, we do see the Bermuda high, which is a high pressure centered over basically Bermuda, starts to get into play as we get into the end of the month into early June, which is fascinating because that may perfectly coincide with the hurricane season starting up, and we may start to see some activity into the Caribbean before long with that kind of a pattern set up. I would say at about 14 days, maybe less, we may start to see signs of development just because the pattern is becoming more summer-like down the road. But we've got to get through more upper low fun in the coming days. More on that in a second. Let's get you outside and show the pretty view outside. We had some fog around earlier today that is lifted out of the area now, so that's good. So we're now back into a partly cloudy sky. Nice. You're right. So nice to get the sun back in the area. We've been missing that, craving it. We really haven't seen it since Oaks Day. So it's nice to get it back. And for the first time since Oaks Day, we're going to have a chance to get above 70 in the area today. Not exactly as warm as it was then, but low 70s, I think, are certainly on tap for the Louisville area anyway. And then we'll try to warm back up again tomorrow. But then we got, again, that upper low in Texas will begin to approach. We've had this cool stretch of weather. We only made it in the 50s for highs for May the 4th to be with you on Sunday. And then we barely hit 60. That was a down to the wire call on getting to 60 there, because we thought for sure we were going to stay in the 50s there at about 58 or 59. So it just barely crossed the line. I don't even count it as a 60-degree day, to be honest. It was a 50-degree day for sure. It was kind of a spooky-looking sky yesterday. You guys notice that? The cumulus breaking up very low in the sky there. So very pretty sky yesterday. But again, we're getting a chance to get back to warmer weather. You said there on Oaks Day, we made it to that 80-degree mark. So not quite as warm as that until we get into perhaps near Mother's Day, although it's going to be tough to get to 80 really for this weekend. We may get close, but I think it'll be tough. But still, that's good. I mean, that's 70s is what we're talking about. That's perfect, actually. I think everyone's going to be happy with that. And if you've missed that warm weather, those 86-degree days, which is the warmest we've been so far, by the way, this year, we did that twice at the end of the month. We may see that come back and beat that as early as next week. So more on that as well coming up in just a few. All right, the current temperature is 57 outside. Areas have had a little bit of the fog action, especially when you see that lighter blue into areas of southwest Indiana. This is where the fog was a little more prevalent this morning. It's still in the process of lifting, so it kept you guys cool, and it's going to keep you guys a little slower to warm while the sun's been out into areas of central Kentucky, and that's allowing for a better chance to get some sun. In fact, let me show you what it looks like right now from space. And you can see that fog this morning that was around Bedford, Jasper, Paoli area. Again, now starting to break up nicely. We've got that partly cloudy sky now into Louisville. A little more of a cloudier setup, though, for those of you in the parkways, but still you're getting some peaks of sun mixed in. Where is the upper low that was plaguing us the past few days? Well, it's not too far. Actually, right over portions of Toledo, Ohio at the moment, and still trying to throw clouds back in our area today. But thankfully, far enough away that we don't have to worry about it causing us any problems today. That's a good thing. All right, back to the west. Here's the Texas low that is producing even some mountain snow into the Rockies. Not unusual to see that, although I will say that it may come up a few times in the next week or two, and that would be a little unusual. But once you get into June, that's usually when the snow completely ends just about everywhere in the lower 48. We say goodbye to it. I've seen it last into the first week of June before, so it can happen. But I think this year probably will be later than normal, so probably mid to I don't think it'll go late May, but it could get close into the Rockies. But we'll eventually say goodbye to the snow for much, again, the lower 48 until typically around our country, we see the snow come back into the Rockies sometime about a week before Halloween. It comes back. So but we're about ready to get into that summer setup. But speaking of that, you can see the thunderstorms blossoming around Austin, Texas, heading toward the Metroplex this morning. Very active. It's been active there the past few days because the low hasn't moved like it was over us. With our low, same story for Texas. So they've been dealing with this for a few days now. But it is heading to the east, and that's what we're going to be watching for later this week. But there is a big asterisk next to that. I'll explain. First off, the setup today, we'll get into that 70-degree mark, 70 to 72, looks like here into Louisville, with a decent amount of sun as we wave goodbye to that upper low. See you later. Goodbye. Get out of here. Give us some quiet weather. We're going to get that for today. We will get that for a good chunk of Wednesday. But Wednesday, we start to see the arms of this upper low in Texas start to stretch its legs out a little more in its arms and reach out for us. But how fast will it get here? And that's where the models kind of struggle, as they will with upper lows. They always struggle with a very sluggish weather pattern. When you don't have a jet stream around, it's really hard to get the timing of certain specifics and weather features like this, especially when you have a spiral effect going on. These rain bands that push out from, say, in this case, Arkansas and Missouri, push eastward. But the air here locally will still be dry initially. So as the showers get pulled to the east, they will likely just fall apart until the low gets closer to you. And then as each spiral comes around, you'll be closer to the low pressure. Therefore, you'll have more moisture to work with. And each one of those little spiral little bands that come around will then stay a little more intact as the low gets closer to you. And we'll start to see that potential increase at some point, I would say late Wednesday, more likely Thursday, and should be out of here by Friday. Should is the key on that. And I think it will, based on what we're going to see here. So the first round of showers, that's going to be the challenge. When does that first band survive? And right now, we're kind of splitting the hairs on this for late Wednesday into Thursday. You can see the first band disintegrates. At least this is our in-house model indicating that. So we'll see if the next band will make it. That's the first one. It disintegrated. So that would be good if that trend holds. And I think it will to buy us another decent-looking Wednesday. Then we get into late Wednesday into Thursday, and that's when the next band moves in. Well, this one has a much better chance to survive, as you can see here, as we head into the wee hours of your Thursday. Even some lightning and thunder with this. No, we're not looking at severe weather. Lightning and thunder is what we're talking about in some cases, and that's mainly going to be Kentucky, because at the same time, what you can't see on this futurecast is behind the banner at the top, and that is a cold front that is sinking out of Lake Michigan and heading southbound. That, thank goodness, is going to keep pushing south. If we didn't have this front that would be arriving here on Thursday into Friday, we would be in trouble, because this upper low would likely move over us, and it would do the exact same thing as the previous one did, with a similar forecast of highs in the upper 50s and low 60s, low clouds and drizzle for all of Mother's Day weekend. So if we didn't have this front, that's what we'd be facing. So this front is our saving grace, that it will at least sink southbound. Now, as it does so, it will help enhance some of the rainfall, because it's acting like a shovel and trying to scoop up, and the two will interact and shake hands, if you will, and you'll get a little bit more action on the radar. Nothing too heavy and nothing severe that we're looking at, but it will at least allow for more active radar at some point as we into Thursday and at times into Friday as well. You can see a little bit more of that enhancement. There's the front. You can see now the northern side of the low gets a little smushed, a little not as round of a spin of the low pressure. Now it's a little more oblong shape there, and that again is the front sliding southbound, which will happen on Thursday. And as long as the front timing holds on this, it should push through here at some point Thursday night. Could allow for a really chilly Friday morning, depending on how fast the front can clear that air out and allow for maybe some clear in skies. Otherwise, I think we'll be in the 40s, but if it clears the sky out too fast, we may get close to 40 in some areas. So it could be a chilly Friday morning coming our way, again, depending on how fast the front moves in. Rainfall amounts are going to be very blotchy. This is going to be very scattered looking radar. Nothing very organized at all. There could be some lightning and thunder. You see there's a bit of fuel for Kentucky. So Indiana should stay on the showery side and avoid thunder, but Kentucky may end up with some lightning and thunder at times. Again, not enough wind energy here, even with the front moving in, to really kick up severe weather. So this is going to be a relatively tame setup, but it will be a little messy at times in the radar. It would actually look very similar to what we had yesterday, where you had that spooky looking sky, where you had a few sun breaks that were trying to get mixed in, and then you have a shower and a downpour, and then you're back to a few hints of sun, and you're back to a downpour again. It will be that type of sky coming our way as we head into the end of the week here. But the front does sink south, thank goodness, as we head into Friday. That will, again, allow for a cooling trend on Friday itself. And the front should allow for us to gain, I would say, 48, maybe up to 60 hours of dry time. So here's the Euro, grabs the front and the low pressure itself, pushes down to the south, pushes that air to where we allow for a dry setup and beautiful looking skies as we evolve through Friday and certainly into Saturday, and certainly as we head into at least the start of Mother's Day. We'll hold on to the dry weekend. I would say if you want to guarantee you're going to stay dry this weekend, plan anything outside on Saturday versus Sunday. But even on Sunday, the rain chance is only 10%. So your odds of staying dry are fairly high on Mother's Day. But I just want to caution you guys, because eventually the front does wash out, and the low that's down in the deep south, well, guess what? It comes back as we head into next week. And when it arrives, it's still varying as well. We don't know if it's going to be late Sunday or it'll be Monday. We're betting more on Monday into Tuesday right now. That low will come back for yet another visit with more of a showery setup, maybe some thunder as we end early next week. But this one's not going to get us stuck nearly as bad as what the previous lows have been, because there's a strong low pressure. You see the cape that builds in the northern plains. there's a strong low pressure in the northern plains that will help kick this little baby out to the east and allowing for that summer vibe as we head into next week. Once that moves out of the way, hello, summertime. And yeah, there's a lot of in fact, strong instability builds over the Midwest, Ohio Valley, but capped. So we don't see a lot of thunderstorm action, which is a good thing because there's a lot of fuel at play here. But very much I would say a late June, 4th of July type of setup as we head into the end portion there, or the middle of the month. So here's your 10-day, and I'll get some of your questions, then I got to run. You can see we've got 70s the next few days. There's that cooling trend with the low in the front moving in as we head into Thursday and early Friday. I think overall Friday daytime should be good. Dry on Saturday. There's that 10% on Mother's Day, just to account for that low coming back from the south again late Sunday to Monday with a few scattering of showers and thunderstorms. And we'll go with about 86, I would say, by next Thursday, getting a little closer to 90 at the end of next week. So there you go. Let's see. What does the horizon say? Horizon is very similar on this. The data I don't have available to show you guys today, but it's very similar on the timing of all these features. That's why I kind of just basically showed the Euro. They're all very similar on the storyline. They just vary, I would say, about 12 hours sometimes on the arrival time of that rain for Wednesday. Same with the low next week. You're going to have that buffer. So I didn't want to get too specific with you all on timing right now. We'll have to do this one at a time. But I wanted you to get the whole storyline of how this is going to play out for the next 10 days and what features we're going to be tracking. And we'll be doing that as the week evolves here. Hi, Charlotte. When there's a % chance of rain, what does that % actually mean? Well, there's two different ways you can do it. You can do 10% of your location getting rain at any given point in the day. I like to look at it more of area, how much of our area will actually see some rainfall. And I think that's easier to understand. So that's usually the way I approach it, is 10% of the area. And if it's 100%, it's every county will get rainfall. That's what we go by. Cut the grass today, Joanne says. You're right. Cut the grass today. Cut it today. It may be a little wet, so if you can't get it in today, you still have tomorrow. But if you don't do it by tomorrow, then you really may not be able to until some point over Mother's Day weekend. Fair enough? All right. What?
Fair.
What, Myra?
Not fair.
Not fair? What's not fair about it? It's going to be almost 90 next week.
Yes.
At the end of next week. It's going to be a few days. All right. Very good. I appreciate you all. I'll tell you what, I got to run because Myra's here and she's booting me out. It's all about her show, you know, so I'm about mine.
Not true. Now I'm going to get hate mail.
You're not going to get hate mail. No, you're not going to get hate mail. You're not going to hate mail. These people love you. These are good people. I got a good crowd here. They're good. All right, guys, y'all take care. It's a short blog today. We'll take each one of these systems one at a time this week, but get outside, enjoy today, take your allergy meds, but get outside and enjoy today. And I will see you guys coming up on midday at 11 a.m. Take care, everyone.